Hello gamers, welcome back to the Armbar Arcade and welcome to a very special video here on the channel. We decided in lieu of two very important occasions coming up, we decided to do something a little bit different for you. A little bit of a Christmas treat because firstly, it's Christmas, you may have noticed. It will be Christmas in only a few days when this video goes out. So to everybody, happy Christmas, happy holidays. Hope you guys have just an amazing time because you probably deserve it. Unless you're someone like Donald Trump, in which case you don't deserve it. And the other special occasion is the first anniversary of this channel being a thing. It was about a year ago that we both sort of looked at each other. We were both feeling moving on from our existing YouTube channels and forming together into this sort of mega powers combo that we see before us now.
Yes.
And a year down now, or almost a year down. Thoughts on the first year?
Yeah, loads of enjoyable videos. Really enjoyed playing the games that we've looked at. Got tons more coming up. Yeah, I'm feeling good.
Yeah, it's all good. I mean, the modern YouTube, kind of the way YouTube is these days, it's hard to kind of gauge things by, like, metrics anymore. So pure numbers don't do justice anymore because the algorithm's all over the place and there's all sorts of... It's basically one massive dumpster fire that we're living in right now. But in amongst all of that, in amongst all the carnage, I think we've done quite well. Everyone who has already subscribed to the channel, we've already got about just under 200 subscribers. So
yeah.
Pretty good. So if you've subscribed to the channel, if you've watched any of our videos, if you commented... you mentioned before we started recording, actually, the comment section's really nice in general in our videos.
Yeah, I think they've been really good for YouTube. Like, while there's all this dumpster fire going on other parts of YouTube, we're just existing, having fun.
Yeah.
You know, having a nice little look at some games, good games, some bad games, lots
Some very
of bad games. Yeah.
And I think what's funny is that 4 out of the top 5 most watched videos on the channel are bad games beatdowns.
You guys love beatdowns.
We do, yeah. We're like the sort of vigilantes of bad games out in here. But thank you guys so much for your support in year one. It's been really, really cool. A question for you, Nate, before we get going, because obviously we have a Q&A video. This is the main purpose of this video, is that it is a Q&A video. We asked you guys for... questions on Twitter and Facebook, and some of you just messaged me on WhatsApp. That also works, I guess. But we decided to do a Q&A for you guys. But before we get into your questions, Nate, I have a question for you.
Let's hear it.
Favourite video on the channel so far?
Well, you know what? I would have to say...
Have to say fuck off, Lauren.
Yeah, I'd have to say the Sniper 2 has been one of my favourites because
that's a good one.
It's a game I've been campaigning as one of the worst games ever for quite a long time.
Yeah.
And just to be able to show off how absolutely terrible it is, it's almost as bad as I am at this game.
Yeah, it's worth noting we are playing Stuntman. This is one of the very first games we played on the channel. We weren't going to try and play the very first game we actually played on the channel, which is Flat Out 2, but it kept crashing. So
here's this.
So here's this instead. So similar enough. Cars driving around, crashing into things. Basically similar enough. But
Your favourite video on the channel, Adam?
My favourite video. I mean, the Sniper 2 is good.
Yeah.
Sniper 2 was a good video in that, you know, coming away, you know, moving on from Bomber Sports plays and all that. I was a bit like, you're nervous when you start something new. Like, is this the right thing to do? You know, have I made the right decision? Doing Sniper 2, when I was editing it, because I sort of edit a lot of the videos, most of the Friday videos, and you edit a lot more now. But when I was editing that, I remember I was in tears of laughter at various points in that video. It was as funny as seeing that fork. Let's do it again. Fuck your forklifts. Hey!
Wheelie.
That was... Seeing those forklifts wheeling like that was as funny as editing the Sniper 2. And I really did. I was sat there like, I've made the right decision. This is going to be great. As for all-time favourite video on the channel so far, it's kind of like trying to choose between kids.
110 kids.
110 kids. I feel like Session Moth Martina right now. But I would probably say, I don't know, Right Tail Retribution was a doozy. Oh my goodness, that was just levels of rage. Favourite series, I will say probably your UFC 2 series.
Thank you.
Because it's been really nice. Like, obviously, I'm kind of used to me doing Let's Play series. I did them on Bomber Sports Plays for a bit. But it was really noticeable how you got more confident with each series. Like, you really took a big step forward each time. And it was really cool to see that kind of growth and development and all those kind of corny words.
Well, thank you.
But thank you very much. As for one-off favourite video, I think maybe the beatdown on Aliens Colonial Marines. That really was like... To me, I go back and watch that video and go, you can see the chemistry and everything start to come together.
I think we both lost it at that game. That was the point. We were both just raging.
We were unified in our rage. Like, up until that point, we'd been showing the other a game that we knew was one of us knew was already bad.
Yeah.
That was just a shared experience of fuck, really. And on that bombshell, a shared experience of fuck. Should we dive into the questions?
Yeah, we've got some tea.
We have got tea because this is a nice chilled video. So
a clink.
There we go.
We've got some biscuits. What biscuits have we got, Adam?
Oh, it's funny you should ask. Only the best for Armbar Arcade. It is McVitie's chocolate digestives.
Oh,
Which, no matter what Dave, the TV channel, says, are the absolute god tier of biscuits. They did some sort of graphic recently on Facebook where it was like they ranked various biscuits. They put Oreos right at the bottom because they're stupid and they don't know what they're talking about. They put chocolate digestives at the all right, I guess category. What their idea of a really good biscuit was, I have no idea. But quite frankly, chocolate digestives are the best. So that's that, really. So we've collated all the questions. We've got them right here for you. Shall we kick things off?
let's kick things off.
I think so. So whilst you chase a Ford Capri around the London Docklands...
I'm chasing the frame rate at the minute.
You are chasing the frame rate. This is the PS2 launch title, so frame rate was not an option just quite yet. So where are they? Where are the questions? Here we go. So let's start off over on the Twitter. We had a few questions from Louis Kong, who is a friend of ours from, we see him a lot of Riptide and a lot of the wrestling shows.
Hi, Louis.
Great guy. He also runs a organisation that puts up viewing parties for WWE pay-per-views. He's doing one for the Royal Rumble, I believe, which should be very good fun.
Very cool,
I believe they're called Marking Out. I will be corrected if that's wrong, but yeah, go support those guys. They're great. And Louis is awesome. And he has 3 questions for us. So the first one... What's the best Edgar Wright movie, and why is it Scott Pilgrim versus the World? This is a question very close to my heart, because Edgar Wright is my favourite filmmaker ever.
Yeah, it's true. I love Edgar Wright's films. I think there is a case for Scott Pilgrim being the best Edgar Wright movie. There's a case for Hot Fuzz.
Yep.
Small case for Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah.
But I think I'll agree with you, Louis, just on the basis that you phrased the question in that way.
Yeah. No, Scott, like, you could... It's one of those things where there's not really a wrong answer. You could say his best film's Hot Fuzz. Yeah, you're right. You could say his best film's Shaun of the Dead. Yeah, you're right. Scott Pilgrim, same. World's End, maybe not, but I like World's End a lot more than a lot of people.
And I mean, I've seen Baby Driver. You haven't seen Baby Driver.
I haven't. I'm gutted about that.
I enjoyed it. I thought the format constricted it a little just because of the sort of...
A little bit too mainstream.
little bit of mainstream car chase about it. But if you like that, great film. I think it was just, I felt like Edgar Wright had been so creative and allowed to do whatever he wanted with the Cornetto trilogy. It ended up a little bit more... It's got to be more like an actual film.
Yeah, absolutely. And but yeah, like basically everything Edgar Wright touches turns to gold for me. So I love Scott Pilgrim. I love all those films. What film series would we like to see Edgar Wright involved in?
Interesting.
I'm going to put one to you. James Bond.
Yeah.
You imagine him...
I reckon he could revitalise James Bond.
Oh, it's not really in need of revitalising at the moment, but it is very serious at the moment.
Yeah, I
so
think
if you wanted to sort of
punch
blend
some fun into it.
Yeah, so if you wanted to blend like the serious and the sort of fun sides of James Bond.
Yeah, you could have him drink a martini. Oh, you've got a moustache. I knew.
Very good. So today, James, we're sending you on a top secret mission to Dorset. That's what's going to happen. You know it. You know that's what's going to happen. And
See, I'd quite like to see Edgar Wright involved in sort of the more comic booky stuff, because with Scott Pilgrim, it came from the sort of graphic novel origin.
It came from a graphic novel origin, yeah.
And obviously we had like Watchmen, which Zack Snyder, I think. Is it Zack? Yeah, Zack Snyder.
Zack Snyder, yeah.
300 was good. Watchmen was really well done from a graphic novel. So I think if we could get more Edgar Wright graphic novel adaptations,
it's a shame
he does them really well.
It's a shame the whole Ant-Man thing never worked out, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, those are very cool ideas. His final question: what is your dream fictional tag team?
Oh.
Now, this is a wrestling question. I don't know if he means, of all time. Like, we could just pick anyone from history.
Well, let's go with that. Let's go with
all time.
Unconstricted.
Let's go with unconstricted. Now, this is a good question. Oh, dear. Most of my reference is British wrestling as well, which is fun. Pete Dunne and William Regal. A father-son combination. That'd be something right there.
That does sound fun.
Yeah, that does sound... another one I wouldn't... speaking of fun... or not fun at all, Chief Deputy Dunn and IRS.
Oh,
now there's a combo right there. You've got a tax officer and an officer who doesn't like fun. That just seems like the dream combo for me, surely.
Yeah, that's interesting. See, I'm going to go a bit more WWE with this.
Okay, yeah. I've never heard of that guy before.
See, I'd go for Rey Mysterio and Edge in a kind of heel face. There's a dynamic between them where they have to keep each other in check.
You just picked your 2 favourite wrestlers of all time, and I love it. That's brilliant.
Well, that's it. It's my dream tag team.
Yeah, it'd be like me picking, I don't know, Rob Van Dam and Will Ospreay, and
it works.
I'm down with that. Holy shit, that's good.
I mean, if I had to choose indie res tag team.
Yeah, you can sort of pick from
I
wherever.
don't know. I'd probably go with Chris Brooks and Kid Lycos, but unfortunately,
They already exist. They already are a team.
So
That is already a thing.
CCK is my dream tag team.
Yeah. I don't even. Yeah. No, I think I'm just trying to list my favorite wrestlers at the moment. Maybe David Starr and Volta as a tag team. That'd be something else. Because at the moment they're very good at beating the shit out of each other. But them on the same team would be something else. So that would probably be my answer as well. As we're going through the forklifts, can you read the?
I'm going to read the next question.
Leaning across me.
This one is from Ash Versus on Twitter. We've got hang on a sec.
Oh.
The question is, what are your feelings on video games / cheese pairings?
Yes, very specific question, because I did ask on Twitter that your questions can be about anything from video games, wrestling, MMA, and cheese.
Why did you do that?
I don't know. I wasn't expecting someone to take the ball and run with it, quite frankly. But Ash Versus has.
I think I've got one.
You've got one.
How
Okay,
about
good.
a nice mature cheddar, glass of wine, and Gran Turismo 4? Simulation, it's sophisticated, it's refined, it's got a nice full flavour, lots of cars. I think that's a good pairing.
Yeah, no, I'll go with that. That's very nice. So Cheddar and Gran Turismo, good combo. That almost sounds like some sort of hipster album, like a sort of hipster band. Can we just enjoy the trailer for this film?
I told you, I don't like Rogers and I don't like milky tea.
There it is.
Hey.
But did we feature it in the original video?
I don't know.
I don't think we did, because we just keep
say
referencing
it
that
all the
over and
time.
over. That's the origin of the quote. There it is. And this is also the origin of one of Robbie Beckton's finishes, the Toothless in Wapping. This is it. It's the first film from this. So, Ash's other question. If you were reinventing the 2K WWE series, what would be your first decisions with regards to mechanics and aesthetic choices?
What I would do is I would make SmackDown vs. Raw 06.
SmackDown
release
vs. Raw
that.
2K18.
Yeah, basically.
I mean, that's as good a start as any. For me, decision number one, loot boxes can fuck off. Decision number two, any thoughts of bringing microtransactions in can also fuck off. Number three, rebalance the career mode and make it non-linear. So make it so you can have objectives which you can fail, but they lead to something else. So if you lose a title match, you go on to something else. You don't go, you got to retry it.
I think more flowcharts is what we're saying.
Yes, more different sort of branching paths.
Yeah.
Which was a feature of previous games, like Here Comes the Pain and stuff like that. That did happen. So that'd be my decision. I think aesthetically, it's kind of fine. I'd have to redo the hair, though. The hair sort of looks like people have attached toilet rolls to their head. It really does not look good. And it's all like, have you seen the women's hair physics in that game?
I have.
It's just sort of...
It's not good.
It's like sort of tinsel. It's very strange.
I think if you did want to change it up aesthetically, you could have a kind of very... more comic book look to it. Not kind of the roidy game of...
WWE All-Stars.
yeah, that was too far. But
too much.
maybe just make it a little bit... because obviously it looks like a broadcast, but you could make it a little bit less serious broadcast and a bit more, wow, look at these behemoths of wrestling go at it.
I'd agree with that. I think between us, we have solved all of 2K's problems. So 2K, hire us immediately.
Definitely.
Very simple. So next up is another pal of ours from the indie wrestling scene, Jordan Swinburne. Good to have you aboard. He has asked a very simple question. Favourite Final Fantasy game and why? And at this point, I'm going to tag you in and leave because I haven't played a single Final Fantasy game ever.
Okay,
They're just
so-
not my thing, really. But
I mean, that's fair enough. I've had some Final Fantasy experience. I've played mostly 7. 7's what I've played the most of, so that's going to have to be my favourite game. Mm. I've got to say, maybe the character models are a little bit blockier than I would like. I quite like the 2D sort of Japanese RPG setup. So Final Fantasy, the early ones at least, I think 2 and 3 maybe, might appeal to me more if I got round to playing them. I've got 5 and 6 on one disc for PS1 that I haven't touched. And yeah, I mean, 15 looks pretty fun. Didn't really like 10, but it's something I might like to play later on, I think. I've played Grandia, which is apparently quite similar to Final Fantasy VII. Enjoyed that. So we'll go with Final Fantasy VII for the best game. And I know that's the answer you wanted, so...
yeah, well, that's the answer Victoria, his girlfriend, wanted, because she tweeted, like, on the reply to that, it's just like, and the right answer is, and it was 7, but... I was like, okay, I'll take your word for it.
I think you're right. I mean, from what I've played, I think 7's the best. So that's our answer. We apologise for not having played more, but we're not
the biggest sort of experts.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like when I say I haven't played them, it's not like they suck. I haven't played them. It's just not my game. You know, there's like first-person shooters aren't really your bag.
Yeah, true. I haven't played a whole lot of those.
Yeah, so you kind of leave them to me. Next question then. This is from James at JCM4CHINE4 on Twitter.
I mean, we assume that's how you pronounce it.
We assume that's how you pronounce it, yes. He has asked, what scummy move from a developer has made you want to find their headquarters and punch them in the mouth?
There's been quite a lot this year.
That's 2017 in a gaming nutshell right there. Moving on. I don't know. I know most of the stuff you've heard about UFC 3, not good.
Yeah, if they're going to implement the amount of microtransactions and whatever other bullshit that they say they're going to do, then yeah, I feel exactly that way about UFC 3.
To will yourself into existence in Dana White's office and punch him in the mouth to be like, give you the license to someone else, please.
Basically, yes.
Yeah, so, but I'm trying to think. I mean, just in general, a lot of, you know, I would say not having really any sort of single-player career mode in Gran Turismo Sport, but they are fixing that. It's almost like the developers were like, shit, we fucked up, guys, and before AJ gets mad at us, quick, let's put a single-player back in. So they've kind of fixed that already for free as well. It's a nice free update.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the opposite of a scummy developer. I want to go and shake their hands at their headquarters.
Yeah, it's like, fair enough. There's a lot to be said for making a mistake and then owning up to it and apologising.
Fixing it for free.
Yeah. Nowadays, it's very easy for people to just double down on being a dick. So it was nice that Gran Turismo acknowledged that and fixed it. I don't know, man. There's been a lot of shady stuff. You mentioned about budget games kind of being very deceptive.
Yeah, I think a lot of the stuff from the Simple series and that, back in the day, you had stuff like Taxi Rider, sort of capitalising on Crazy Taxi, the Sniper...
Like the sort of low-budget rip-offs of big Hollywood smashes.
Sniper Elite was just coming out. Like, there was always a game that would convince your nan to buy it, going, I got you that game you wanted. No, nan, it wasn't that.
No, nan, it wasn't that whatsoever. Right, no, I've got my answer, and it's based on a fairly recent video. It's EA again, surprise, surprise, but it's what EA did with the Medal of Honor franchise. The Medal of Honor franchise, which means the world to me, as I'm sure we'll get to later, once we've finally done this Stuntman, we're just not very good at this.
Talking and stunting is harder than you would have thought.
Talking and stuntmanning is not very good. But yeah, their decision to reboot Medal of Honor as not even a Call of Duty clone, but a bad Call of Duty clone, and it was quasi-racist.
It was
just
not
horrible.
Enjoyable.
It was just horrible, and
a lot of beatdowns. We're actually having a lot of fun while we're playing the game because it's so bad. That we were just sort of hands at all the decisions.
That one gave me a headache 5 minutes in. I swear to God, it was horrible. It was like being in that car. Until the very... it's just toppling over. No. But no, that was absolutely no fun. Nah. Just wasn't. And I'm pretty sure even Chief Deputy Dunn would have been like, no, I'm not inflicting this on anyone. Why would anyone want to see this? So I'm going to try and read a question now whilst driving. This is from Duncan Parker, Newton Gaines, and he is asking the very serious question of what is our favourite kitchen utensil. It's time to find out. Nay, what is your favourite kitchen utensil?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Woo. It's a fork because fork you. No.
See, I was going to go a bit hipster and go for the spork. Because it's combining the best features of the spoon and the fork.
It's the Toyota Prius of the kitchen.
And sometimes you get those ones with a little cutting edge down the side.
Oh, next level.
That is just all the utensils in one. But the thing is, I'm not sure if we're allowed stuff like a pizza slice or a rolling pin, because those are also very useful in making pizza, which is a big part of the Armbar arcade.
It basically fuels us.
Yeah, we got Mighty Meaty, Stuffed Crust. That's our nicknames for the challenge belt.
Again, hashtag not spawn, but
I mean, they're semi-serious, but that is what we order. So
that's exactly what we order. So, pizza slice is a good one. Pizza slicer is a good one. I know what I'm going to go for. Cheese grater. Because I like cheese.
Good. And again, crucial to pizza.
Exactly. There you go. Grate your cheese, put on the pizza. There it is. So cheese grater. Well, so what was yours? Pizza slicer?
Yeah, we'll go with pizza slice and cheese grater.
So basically, we're going to open like a second channel where we show you like cooking pizza recipes.
Yeah,
it's going to be us. We're going to be the new Drunk Kitchen.
Armbar Kitchen coming soon.
Hey, Armbar Kitchen. So next question, we're now moving over to the Facebook. No, this was from Twitter as well, actually. This was from Pierre Fouquet. Fouquet?
Fuck it.
I hope that's how your surname is pronounced. Fouquet, I mean, not what they said. This is quite an interestingly specific question. I like this one. Have you ever played a game that you like, but the UI is so bad you couldn't keep playing?
See, I've had two thoughts on this. Mm-hmm. The first one is a lot of Japanese games have their X, where we're used to X as continue and circle as back, it's got it the other way around. So circle is okay and X is go. And if it's an RPG or something where there's lots of menus, it's just so hard to reprogram yourself to do it just for one game. Also, I think XCOM had quite a lot of fucking around in menus. XCOM 2, I think, was the... But that's the only game that sort of came to mind as, I don't know, about the UI. Anyway. Your take on this?
I don't know. It's I'd say a very specific question, isn't it?
It is.
I know.
I'm wondering whether Pierre had a game in mind.
Yeah, get back to us on that, Pierre. if you've had a game that touched on as well. I think I've just thought of one. Good game, actually. Weirdly sort of specific game to have. But PGA Tour Golf 2 on the Sega Genesis. I have it. Don't ask me how I got it. I just had it as a kid. And the physics were good, except the UI was completely inaccurate, because it would always tell you which way the wind was blowing, and then you'd aim the ball, aim your shot in the right way, and it would go somewhere completely different. It would just fuck off. So basically the wind UI would lie to you. So I wouldn't say it stopped me playing the game, though. It was just still a fun... Oh my god.
That's no fun.
Oh my god.
There's people in there.
Oh my god. Wow. If you're going to fuck up a stunt now, fair play. That is well done. But I have to say, that would probably be my suggestion.
Sounds like a very Bohemian Rhapsody type problem, Any way the wind blows.
Very good. Very good. So, do you want to read the next questions, which were sent to me by Lewis Glynn, who's at LewisGlynn69 on Twitter, but he actually sent us these questions via my WhatsApp.
So we're going to go with the first one as, are we ever going to play more fantasy type games?
That is a good question, because I know Lewis is a big fan of games like Shadow of Mordor and things like that. He's a massive Lord of the Rings and Star Wars fan anyway, so I assume that's the kind of fantasy game he means. They're not really my sort of game, but I'm open to playing them. I've done the same thing as you, basically, but I'm still going.
You're not dead,
look at
good.
The next gate's there, come on! Stupid strict director. But yeah, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think modern ones like Shadow of...
I've not heard of that one.
Modern ones like Shadow of Mordor and maybe even Skyrim and stuff, I think are such a time investment, and there's so many side quests and stuff to do that I think they'd be hard to cover on the channel. But I am up for sort of maybe shorter JRPGs and some other stuff like that. Maybe a series one time where I just record a bunch of episodes and upload them kind of daily or something. I don't know. I think it'd take a bit of thinking to get it into an arcade format.
Just do like 20 videos on a day. Just do it like Netflix style.
But I think maybe.
Never say never. Never say never. What was his second question? Let's have a look here. He also asks, and this is related to another question from Daniel Cousin, who asked us this on Facebook. All-time favourite games. I think Dan actually asked for our top 10. But
we might just have to narrow that down a little bit.
Top 3 or top 5? Top 5. We like top 5s. But this is one of those top 5s which will probably have about 36 games on it. You know how it is.
Lost.
What, in your mind trying to think of games, or just literally? Nice. Top 5 favourites. Because the thing is with favourite games, I can always maintain that they're not necessarily the best games. Like they're normally very good games. Don't get me wrong. But they can be your favourites for where are you going?
I don't know.
Are you just like, fuck the police? You saw a police car, just went to ram it. So my top 5. Oh, so close. Tell you what, while I take the next go, do you want to go first with your top 5?
I know what my top 5 are going to be, purely because I've been doing a video game rating blog for 4 years or so now. It's slowed down a bit because... It had to. With all the Armbar arcade content, it had to slow down. But I've probably played about 700 games in the past 4 years. And I think that's helped clarify what my top 5 games are in my head. So I'd definitely go for Shenmue.
Yep. Is this in any particular order?
Not really.
No.
Favourite game ever, definitely.
Yep.
Earthbound,
Yep.
really good, cutesy JRPG with some really nice touches from Nintendo. I'd also go... Ooh.
Hey, there we go.
I'd also go for GTA 5, probably one of my favourite experiences in the modern gaming era.
Yep.
Rhythm Heaven, just the entire series, really. Love rhythm games, love mini-game sort of games. And WarioWare Inc., again on the mini-game track, just really good little subgenre.
Yeah.
So that's my top 5.
There's your top 5 right there. Very Japanese influenced. I like it. What about my top 5? This is... I have a very clear 3, and then the other 2 are a bit more difficult. So, the top 3 are probably Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Medal of Honor, the original on PlayStation 1 from 1999, nice. Which obviously was my first complete series on the channel, and Gran Turismo 4 is the third one. And what about 4 and 5? 4 and 5 are incredibly difficult to try and decide here. We could be here a while. We could be here a very long time.
Choose something, damn it.
Choose something, yeah. No, number 4, I've realised it. Number 4, GTA San Andreas.
Very nice.
So fairly similar to yours, but I'm going for the old school GTA experience.
Yep.
And that reminds me, actually someone did ask, it was Nick Higgins who asked on Facebook, will there be any GTA games on the channel soon?
Oh, yes.
Sooner than you might think. Anyway, yeah, so GTA San Andreas, number 4. Number 5... Oh my god, number 5. That is very hard. I tell you no.
Anytime you want.
Anytime you want. This is where it's going to become a 33 game list. Because I'm looking at some of my games right now. There's the Burnout games. There's things like, SmackDown Shut Your Mouth, which meant the world to me. Driver San Francisco is a very, very good shout.
Oh, yes. Love that game.
In fact, I'm going to put that as number 5.
Yes, it's good.
Treat that as like a rotating thing. That can change at any time.
I think that would be my number 6 if I had to choose another game.
Yeah, Driver, because I love a lot of the Driver games. We beat down Driver 3 on this channel, even though we still like a lot about that game. So that shows you how much we like the Driver games. Driver 2 was an absolute classic. I still go back and revisit that. Same with Driver 1. Even Driver Parallel Lines, which is the one that everyone kind of forgets about, which was like this sort of dual time period game.
Still pretty good.
Yeah. Made the best fist of being a sort of open world third-person shootery driver game, a la GTA. But San Francisco, man, what a way of bringing a mechanic in where it was like, well, we don't do getting out of the car very good, and yet everyone is going to expect that. You can't just be in the same car the whole time in the modern era of gaming. So let's have this sort of Life on Mars style mechanic where you're in a coma and you sort of go away and... You fucked it at the last second there, mate. Well done.
But do like a slide and it just didn't work.
Yeah. I tell you what, my number 6, because we both ended up doing top 6s, would be the modern Doom. The new Doom.
Good shout.
The new Doom sort of related to a bit with Wolfenstein The New Order. Because they're both very similar. Doom, I think, is the better game. Both reboots of classic games, which recaptured the spirit of them, but also added everything we want from modern gaming. Like really nice graphics, great level design, all that sort of stuff. Like, there's a lot of good things about modern gaming, but the bad stuff about modern gaming, like the stuff about modern military shooters that no one ever wanted in their reboots of classic games, Medal of Honor. So, but Doom was just incredible. Like, have you played much of it?
No.
Not really. There you go.
First-person shooters.
Yeah, I told you he wasn't a first-person shooters guy. But, it's just it has that brilliant sort of feeling of, holy fuck, everything is going on. I'm spraying a massive gun everywhere and it's just all chaos and I'm jumping around and I'm exploring and I'm finding power-ups and I've turned it to God mode and I've got the BFG 9000, which... Fun fact, by the way, do you know what BFG stands for in the BFG 9000?
I don't know. I keep thinking of Roald Dahl's Big Friendly Giant.
It's not. Well, the first letter is big. It literally stands for...
fucking gun.
It is, exactly it. And I love that because it's like BFG 9000. Sounds like a sort of cool techie name. It's like, no, it's the big fucking gun. So, yeah, I love me a big fucking gun, basically. So that'll be my number 6. Do you want to take the next question, by the way?
Yeah, so it's Lewis's last question, which is, will we see Robbie Beckton and Jimmy Lights Out Rogers in a fight at any point?
Well, that is interesting because he did say fight.
He did say fight.
That seems to preclude wrestling match. So
do you want to do a CM Punk? Come over to the UFC.
Well, whoa, is that a formal invitation?
Well,
is
I don't
is he
know.
calling him out?
Could be a good series finale for UFC 2 once we win the belt.
Yeah, I feel. Imagine that your first challenger for your welterweight title would just be Robbie Beckton coming over in his first pro fight. That would be some sort of emotional, because they are actually like best friends in storyline.
Well, like after 30 fights for Jimmy Lights Out Rogers clawing his way to the belt, and then some fucking newcomer comes in and gets a title shot.
Oh,
straight
imagine
off.
that. Just Robbie turns up as the ultimate heel champion.
I think it would just be like a massive flying knee out of anger, just like, no!
Just like Robbie's nose is completely fractured off his face. But to answer your question, yeah, I think there's interest in that fight. I think we've got to set this pay-per-view up. It's going to be bigger than Maymac.
Build the hype.
Yeah, it's going to be bigger than Maymac, man. The Beck Rog World Tour. The Rog Beck World Tour.
Roger Beck.
Oh. There's one guy who didn't want to see the fight. He's just like, fuck you, I'm not having this fight. So,
Do we have another question?
not from Lewis, we don't, but we do have a couple more from Daniel Cousin. So
Excellent. Let's get those
answered,
yeah,
shall we?
Let's do it.
First off, how much would you be willing to pay for WWE 2K18 or UFC 2, or in general other favourite games once you've played them? So I think basically it's kind of like a value proposition. How much do you think some of these games we've played are worth?
Yeah, and I think this is kind of important because in these modern gaming times, like sometimes it is a lot of our games come from like CEX or somewhere where you don't have to spend like $59.99 to find out if something is good.
Which is useful because you really don't want to be paying more than about 50p for something like Aliens Colonial Marines.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like if we get,
I mean, we paid like £3 and I felt like I was ripped off.
Oh dear.
Speaking of ripped off, that's how I felt
my
after
head's
playing.
been ripped off.
That's how I felt after playing Colonial Marines. But let's start with the two modern ones that we discussed. So 2K18.
I mean, this is for you, really. I've played a bit of it.
Yeah, like I can see where a lot of the money went for 2K18. It's very, it's AAA and all that sort of stuff. But I can't justify more than about £35 for it, probably, because the career mode is becoming such a slog. So, and while we're here, this is my true feelings of Aliens Colonial Marines. That's the makers of Colonial Marines. I love that that's an Easter egg in this game, I'm sorry. But yeah, £35 I think for 2K18, mainly because the career mode is just such a slog and it feels like the game's supposed to be nagging you for microtransactions, but it isn't. Not that would be good anyway, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think
if the solution to the problem is add microtransactions, that's not a good problem anyway.
I think UFC 2, I feel kind of similar. Like, it's a very well-made game. There are some bugs, definitely.
Oh, yeah. Tommy Toehold will tell you that.
True. But then we get there's the online modes where you've got microtransactions and they are still kind of scraping cash out of the online portion of the game. You get packs, you get your ultimate team, kind of like FIFA.
Yeah.
So they are still making a lot of money off the online bit. And I feel like £30 for the game is kind of fair, especially if a lot of people are paying more online. Like, that's got to cover your development costs, surely.
Yeah.
So
that whole lie that games are so expensive to make these days, and you found a lot more ways to make more money off them as well, you know what I mean? Notice how it's always the really big companies that aren't hurting for money that always say how expensive game development is.
Yeah, and I mean, EA are always going to get like the UFC license. It's not like a small-time good developer has paid a load to get the UFC license and I have to sort of cover the license fee for them or anything. And there's so much interest in the UFC these days, I think it's a fair-ish price point, especially if you're buying lots of games. You don't want to be spending £60 on every game you buy. You can buy maybe 2 games a month or something.
Yeah, that is a problem I have with games being so expensive as they are these days. It's like, most people are like, but look at the graphics you get. Well, you know what? I was happy with PlayStation 2 era graphics. You know what? Not every game needs to have Ultra 4K HD graphics. And also, like, when did we have to get into an era where games consoles are now like mobile phones, where you get an upgraded version every 2 years that can play 4K, because we clearly have 4K tellies, and that's another £300, thanks. You know what I mean? So that sort of element of modern gaming really does annoy me. So
I think we would be willing to pay more than sort of CEX prices for our favourite games. But
absolutely.
It's hard to tell whether you'll enjoy it. I mean, I took a punt on Yakuza 0 early this year in January. I think I got it for about £30. And it was one of the best games I've ever played. That's probably should have been on my best games list. I've forgotten all about that. Stick that on my best games list.
Yeah. Do you know what? I've also just done the same thing. I completely forgot about Half-Life 2 and Portal for my favourite games list.
Too many good games.
And the weird thing about Portal is that that game is only about hour and a half, 2 hours. There's not really much content
Once
in there.
you get good at it, it's probably
And yet,
45 minutes or something.
I'd happily pay 30, 40 quid for it. It's fucking incredible.
I think what it is it's so tightly developed.
Yeah,
That's
there's
the thing.
no
Games-
like loose edges at all.
There's a lot of little games that are really well made. Ollie Ollie 2 for the PS4, I love that little 2D skateboarding game. There's Nidhogg, a little sword fighting game. They do really simple stuff really, really well.
Sonic Mania, I'd also argue.
Yeah, and I think some of those, like Nidhogg and Ollie Ollie, were about 5-10 quid each. Mm-hmm. And I think they're so well made, more so than some AAA games. I don't know where the line lies in terms of value. So
Yeah.
once a game is good, I think we'd be willing to pay more. But then we do by buying the
New
sequels,
versions.
sequels of the games and different ports or whatever and expansions for them. So I think they do. Good games will get more money off you in the end anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Here, the penultimate question of the video. Penultimate question from Daniel as well. Least favourite AAA game? I assume of all time.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've had a few. Obviously, Aliens Colonial Marines was technically a AAA game.
That was very AAA. I mean, Gearbox involved in that one.
Yep, Medal of Honor Warfighter, I
Yep.
think would have to be right up there for one of my least favourite AAAs.
I mean, that's probably the one.
I think that might be it. I think
That might be that one. I mean, there's...
Was Ride to Hell a AAA game?
No, I wouldn't say
Not
Eutechnics quite were a AAA.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't... It's weird because it... Yeah, I don't think it was.
No, I don't think so. I wouldn't even put Sonic Team up there, so I can't say Sonic Unleashed.
Sonic 06, though, was technically a AAA game because Sega... That's a AAA publisher.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that one.
I mean, there's...
But I'm also thinking EA for Medal of Honor Warfighter. You can't... You know, with everything involved in that classic franchise, classic name value, you've then made it into a Call of Duty clone, and it was rubbish. Like, doubly, like... It's one thing to reboot a classic franchise and make it into something completely different just to copy a rival, and then to make it rubbish as well. It's like, fuck you.
I mean, thinking about it as well,
you know,
there's,
like it stunk of a cash grab. You know what I mean?
One of the Ridge Racer games, which we might get to in a beatdown, Ridge Racer Unbounded.
Yes. Yeah.
They got up to Ridge Racer 7 with the same formula. You're drifting, you're having fun.
Yep.
Unbounded completely changed the game. And they were just
Weird.
like, yep, here's the new Ridge Racer.
I tell you what, speaking of games we may beat down in the future, it depends on, and I kind of consider them a AAA. They are making big money. Oh my god, where am I going? Oh, I've just got lost. That's just my life, really. Tree! We're now in a George of the Jungle reboot, apparently. But, yeah, one of the most disappointing AAA games for me. I don't consider it a AAA. I love Codemasters to bits. There are people on my Twitter I follow who are just the best people. They're good people involved with the games. They generally make amazing games. F1 2017 this year was phenomenal. Dirt Rally and Dirt 4, of course, are phenomenal games. But Grid 2.
Yeah.
Grid 2, that was bad. Because I think what I didn't like about it is that it felt like I'd been lied to. It felt like I'd been kind of...
It felt like that.
It felt like I'd been misguided straight head on into an SUV. Yes, that's exactly what it was. Because it was weird, because Race Driver Grid, incredible game. The TOCA Race Driver games on PS2, right up there in terms of my favourite games discussions. TOCA 2 Touring Cars on the PS1, legendary all-time great game. And then Grid 2 came along, and... to all intents and purposes, it was a Grid 1 sequel. You're like, great, more Grid, you know, awesome. But it sort of became like this street racing game, and the physics were not suited to street racing at all, so it was a horrible game to actually play. Stuff like the Indy cars that they advertised as being in the game turned out to be DLC packs, and it was a bit like, oh, it's one of the few games I've pre-ordered and then refunded. And basically, ever since, I've never pre-ordered a game.
I think I've only pre-ordered Japanese games, so like Yakuza Kiwami when it came out.
That you know will be fairly rare.
It's like, I don't think there's going to be too many copies around of this, and I think the price of them goes up as well. Persona 5 has stayed at 50-ish quid since it came out, and it's actually quite difficult to get. So I think unless it's going to be hard to get in the future, don't pre-order, is my rule.
Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy is still 30 quid in like CEX, and that's really held its value. But the whole point of pre-ordering stuff is normally when it's very rare and there's a reason to do it. Pre-orders have now become an excuse to be like, how much money are you prepared to spend on one game? Is it 60 quid? Well, fuck you, you're just going to get the base game. Is it 100, 150, 200? Great, here's a
small figure.
Here's a load of random stuff that you probably didn't know you needed, you probably don't need, but we're going to put it in there to justify you paying that much money for one video game. You know what I mean? It's just kind of gross to me.
If you've seen the Assassin's Creed, I think it's Origins is the new one.
Uh-huh.
They've got a $999 pack, which has a massive, massive figure in it. It's got tons of stuff, which is fair enough. It was limited to 999 of them as well.
Okay.
But that's
even
almost
so-
$1 million.
Well, $1,000, wasn't it?
1,000 ones of $1,000.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's almost $1 million worth of special
of course.
editions of the game.
You're talking about every single copy of right. I got you.
I think it has gone a bit too far with the pre-orders.
Yeah.
And I think there's tons of different sets as well for Origins. They've got a set of headphones that were $78,000 for the game. I don't think it even included the game.
Yeah. That's a bit of a piss take right there. But, pre-order culture sucks, kids. Don't do it.
Have we got one more question?
We have, and it's about the future of the channel.
Oh.
It is games we want to play on the channel in the future.
Okay, cool.
I have some ideas for this. I have a few.
I too have some ideas. Are we going to talk about things we are going to do, or are we just going to talk about things we want to do?
Want to do.
Okay.
Let's,
keep some secrecy here.
Yeah, we don't want to go full spoilery here, We're wrestling fans. Wrestling bookers never give away their plans in advance, do they?
No.
Unless you're WWE and you're like, we're going to book something else now, but doesn't that mean something would have to, like, I think for an upcoming pay-per-view, like, there's a match with Kevin, well, it may have already happened by the time this video goes out, there's a match where Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, like, will get fired if they lose, and yet they also announced another thing that's happening after that with Sami Zayn in it, so you're like, oh, okay, so we're not going to do that. Games I want to play on the channel, I want to play the Wolfenstein, both Wolfenstein games, Wolfenstein 1 and Wolfenstein 2, which you kindly got me as a Christmas present.
Yeah, happy Christmas, Adam.
Thank you. I'm still to get yours. Hopefully by the time this video goes out, I will have got you something in return, and it will be decent. It won't just be, a limited edition copy of the Sniper 2.
They made limited edition copies of the Sniper 2!
No, it will just be a regular copy, and I'll just put it in like a frame or something.
I just added in cents there.
It was just like, how... Really? I got you fucking a good game, and you got me this shit.
Pre-order the Sniper 2 today. Comes with literal shit as a bonus.
Literal shit on cheesy biscuits.
I think I would like to crash into that van. I'd also like to play more good Sonic games on the channel. I mean,
Yes.
maybe there are some more bad ones coming as well, because we haven't finished all the bad ones.
Well, the fact is, 4 of the top 5 videos on the channel, most viewed of all time, are beatdown videos. So
Yeah,
you
well-
guys like us being full vigilante on bad games, don't
But
you?
there are some more good Sonic games as well, so I think we'll get a balance between those, because we're both big Sonic fans. I'm wearing my Sonic winter jumper still. It's a winter jumper, it is not a Christmas jumper.
Yeah, I can confirm. It's just got snowflakes on it. The trees in the background are not Christmas trees. It's very, very clear about that.
They've just got snow on them. They're Finnish trees, like
There
in
is-
a rally.
Very good. There is one game I do want to play on the channel, mainly because it is my favourite football game. Actually, no, just in general, I want to play a few more sports games because I have a couple of good rugby. Like, basically, if you guys don't know, I and my family are big rugby union fans, so I'd love to play some rugby games on the channel. There have been some good rugby games, and there have been some real stinkers. You are quite the cricket fan, I know that.
Yes, I do like a bit of cricket. I was also thinking NFL games. I'm not the biggest follower of NFL, but
I've been getting into it more this year.
I've really enjoyed the games I have played of it, so look out for that maybe.
Yes, well, I mean, I have a friend of mine who lives out in Baltimore who successfully made me a fan of the Baltimore Ravens to the fact that she even sent me one of their jerseys as a Christmas present, which was
Well, hey.
I have a Joe Flacco jersey. I was like, yeah, this guy. And then I was like, oh, he turns out he's quite good as well. So I find myself watching more. Like, the NFL show in the UK is really good fun to watch. Like, the pundits they have on there, the team are very entertaining to watch. They're that sort of nice mix of... we were talking about this the other day with a lot of the hosts on MMAfighting.com. That lovely mix of very entertaining to watch, and they're also very knowledgeable, and they don't talk down to your audience. So you feel like you're learning something when you listen to them, but it's also not like you're not struggling to keep up with them. Do you know what I mean? As I'm struggling to keep up with this guy. So I have been getting into more NFL this year. So yeah, NFL games, definitely more of those on the channel. There's one sports game in particular I would like to play more of, and you'd be a bit surprised. I can still see him. He's crashed. Just take this control away from me now.
It's going to turn into a beatdown.
It is going to turn into a bit. Stuntman, we like you. Don't make us do.
Behave.
Yeah, behave. But surprisingly enough, we're not big football fans. But there is a football game I would like to play on the channel. We played Pro Evo 6 already in a chance belt.
Yeah.
I'm sure we may be revisiting that as well. But there is a football game I would like to play. FIFA Soccer 95. for the
Ooh.
Sega Mega Drive.
Bit of a throwback.
It is a bit of a throwback. It is my favourite football game of all time. And you may think, what? It's like a 16-bit 2D, football game, whatever. There's not much. It's like 3 buttons.
And we were about 3 when it was released.
Exactly, yeah. I was actually, 3 years old.
Yep.
I thought that was like, I was just like really young. And then you were like, I did the maths right. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair play. You did maths. But the main reason I really want to play it is, number one, the soundtrack's actually really awesome. It's like that cool sort of 16-bit chiptune kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Really cool soundtrack. Number two, there's an option to turn referees off.
Oh, no refs.
And there's also a button combination when you're the defending player, which enables you to literally shove people over.
And I think there's also some cheat codes, are there not?
That's number 3. Yes, that's number 3. There is a cheat mode, or like a sort of debug mode, where you can turn options on, including invisible walls,
Nice.
which is where the ball will never go out of play. It's basically like, do you remember that advert years ago for like Nike or something, where all those footballers were playing in a cage?
Yes.
Basically like that. You kick the ball over the opposition goal, bounces straight back into play. You kick it over the sideline, bounces straight back into play. There's also a like a sort of force of God mode where the wind physics will randomly change. So you can kick the ball up in the air and it will just go and just fall to the ground immediately. Or you can kick the ball up in the air and it will blow at 300 miles an hour down the pitch into the opposition goal. It's completely batshit insane, and I kind of love it for that. Like, literally, if you turn all those on, it's an absolute clusterfuck. It's basically unplayable, but it's the most fun you can have in a football game with your clothes on, basically. So, that's definitely a game I want to play. Any more for you?
I think we just about covered them. You'll have to wait and see as to what we upload.
Yeah, exactly. So, that's all the questions done.
That's all the questions. Wow.
I think we're about there. One last go on this round. Can you finally beat your demons?
No, I've been consistently failing while we've been answering this question.
I tell you what, we'll have one last go. This will be your last go. I'll have one last go as well. But in summary, one last time, thank you guys so much for all being supporters of the channel and
been a great
subscribing
year.
and
Fuck off. Not you.
no, fuck off, subscribers. No, seriously, thank you guys so much. It's been really nice because, like I said at the top of the show, we both had, YouTube channels that we kind of moved on from to do this. Like with me, it was weird because Bomber Sports and Team Bomber Sports, both the channels had quite a hardcore following on them. And, even now, I still get questions like, what's happening with Team Bomber Sports? I mean, understandable,
Yeah.
I didn't like it when it was on videos with just you in. I was like, that's kind of disrespectful. You're commenting on someone else's video to be like,
So I'm thick-skinned, it's fine.
Yeah, it's just like, well, forget you. What about the other guy on the channel? What about his channel that he's not, but, I can understand people had like a following on that channel, but I was feeling doing something different. I was feeling doing something that was like full-time, but I didn't have the time to upload full, 2-3 videos a week anymore. So I was like, hang on, you're kind of in the same boat. We formed this thing. It was a big sort of risk. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's always weird starting completely afresh. You know what I mean?
I think it was kind of a big undertaking as well because we have to meet every couple of weeks, record some videos, collab-wise, and then our series when we've got free time. And I'm not saying it's not a drag at all.
No.
I've really enjoyed it.
Well, I joke that basically this channel is a result of we basically just... The only difference is we always used to meet up and play games anyway. The only difference is now there's an Elgato involved.
Yeah.
That's basically it. But there's a lot more to it than that. We plan out series, and we're even planning like even more... We've been spitballing fucking daily uploads, all this sort of stuff. You know how YouTube is these days. It's all pretty wild. But where we've got to so far... in the current landscape of YouTube, I'm really damn proud of it. And it's one of those things where it's not, it's not a job for us. It is very much a fun thing, but that's exactly what I'm doing with this channel. I'm having fun, and I assume the same for you.
Yeah, and I think like learning to edit videos, I think if you watch back the first videos that I uploaded and now you watch the UFC 2 series with the montages and the slow-mos, and I just chuck everything.
You're way more confident on commentary, or really like I'm finding myself, I'm like, these are all videos I'd watch even if I didn't know you. This was some completely
I think
different
it's
channel.
helping me as a person as well, so thanks for that.
You've grown as a person.
Yeah.
I'm still the same twat that I always was when I started the channel, so but no, seriously, it's been a lot of fun, so thank you guys so much, and celebrate this great first year. I'm now going to beat the fuck out of this level. No, I'm probably going to crash.
Don't go into that fence, whatever you do.
Oh, that was nearly very offensive. All right, here we go. Come on. Once we get past this bit, I would say it gets easier, but then I've just remembered what the finish is. So here we go. We're going up here. We followed him this far. We have to go through the barn.
Barnstorming?
I believe
Oh.
And then we crashed into his car on the other side of the barn. But what's funny is that we did this stunt in the Plays video. We did this okay.
We got further than this.
Yeah. We got like into the third film, I think. But this one, we're just like, nope, we can't do stunts and answer questions, apparently.
And I think we actually completed this one time before we had the channel.
We did, yes.
I mean, you did, basically. I'm shit at this at the end, but...
Yeah. I'm actually... This is one of those games I've played an annoyingly large amount of. So it like comes a bit too naturally for me to be good at this. So here we go. Final jump. Here we go. Let's see our 2017 with a bang.
Hey,
Oh yeah.
Stand and bang.
Very good. And that will conclude for this video. This very special channel Q&A. Thank you guys so much once again for being involved with us in year 1, year 2. Fucking more of the same, but even better.
Yeah.
Bigger, longer, and uncut, as South Park used to say. So leave in the comments your comments. Basically.
Well, maybe some answers if any of the questions...
Continue the discussion.
Yeah, if any of the questions stood out to you, answer them.
Yeah, your favourite games of all time, the AAA release that have disappointed you the most,
Favourite kitchen utensils.
favourite cheese and game combos, all good stuff. All high quality content. Subscribe if you're new around here, and we'll see you guys next time in the Armbar Arcade.